we started out with 4 acres of the Viognier grape, which is one of the more popular varietals we have, and uh, it came with the house when they bought it in 2012. And so and then where we are, we're in the country, so it's like we're in the country, but it's kind of like a old ranch that was selling off parcels, and like the whole neighborhood now is like 20 acre parcels.
Okay.
So it's actually a really beautiful neighborhood, but it's still country. People, like, we all have horses. We're not all of us, but most people out here have horses, and we're out in the middle of nowhere basically, where we're growing everything. But it's all farmland. But the 20 acre parcel, so they bought the initial 20, got a good deal on the 20 acres that was diagonal to them, and then got to know the owner of actually where the course is now, going through the vines, and then he was ready to sell, kind of retire and be done. Just planned on building his dream home on that property, and didn't end up working out. His plans changed and all that, and he was just trying to get rid of it. So we got another good deal, which was really excellent for us. And we had already we just started out with like dirt on the hill, like close to the house. So we were just basically, when we first got the house, we started hitting golf balls right away. So it was just like kind of a natural thing. Like, it's like building anything or remodeling anything. It's like, oh, I did this little tweak. Oh, well, now that looks weird. We got to add this. We're like, okay, well, now let's add this. Like, so we started hitting golf balls pretty much right away on day one.
Mr. Mark falling. You, Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark, Mr. Mark. Yeah. You, Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark, Mr. Mark. Aha. You, Mr. Mark. Mr. Mark, Mr. Mark.
All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Stay Tranquilo episode. We got the man, Jake Adkins, here from Northern California. And it's crazy because we just met a few weeks ago, but I feel like the moment we met, I like, dude, this guy's my guy. I got to get him on the pod. He gets it. We're going to talk a little wine today. We're going to talk a little golf. Tell Jake's story more than anything. But, man, appreciate you for coming on. I think it's going to be a fun one today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what was it? A couple weeks ago, Malbon event. We're there with Jesse from Stogies and Bogies. You guys were there, and we kind of just hit it off. I've known Jesse now for a couple years. I want like 2 years or so, I want to say. Jesse's the man, but anybody a friend of Jesse is a friend of ours for sure. So we appreciate you for coming on, and we're really excited for this. But I want to get right into, something that I thought was like super intriguing when we first met, was that you guys have a winery. I want to hear a little bit about the winery, how that came to be, what that whole process is of even running a winery. So definitely want to hear your story and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, it's a family business. I'm second generation. My dad always wanted to have a winery, and when he was able to, he kind of jumped head first. So he started it. I wasn't a part of it yet. And then I'm like, you know what? And I actually wasn't a drinker. I wasn't a drinker until I decided to start working with family again. So I figured if I'm going to start working with family, I better start drinking. So,
True that.
Yeah, exactly. And he started. I'm like, you know what? With my background in sales and marketing and all that stuff, I could really, really help bring this place to another level. And we did that. We opened up a tasting room. I rejoined the family business maybe a month after we initially opened up the tasting room, And so that was after like, with some family help and with everything else, they all got decorated and all that. I'm like, oof, we're not
Yeah.
really going to, the renovation itself was good because we had an old barn. It was just an old storage barn that was over 100 years old on our property where the tasting room is. And we just renovated that, and that's where our tasting room is now. It's beautiful. And the initial renovation was nice. It served its purpose. It was great. And but there's definitely the decor and things like that. I'm like, yeah, we're kind of attracting just like the established wine drinkers. And for me, being a new drinker, it was really important for me to kind of open that up to people that were my age, because like just it was just like, I guess, old people coming in drinking wine,
100%.
and which is great. But I wanted to create a space where we can kind of connect the different generations.
100%.
Anybody that wanted to come in and have a laid back, high end experience, that's what I wanted to create for anybody. So we've done that pretty well, and our popularity has definitely increased. We won best tasting room a couple years in a row, and we've grown our wine club to over 600 members. So
damn, that's cool.
In a very short amount of time, and even through COVID and all that stuff, because we opened up our tasting room in end of 2018, and so we're able to go through COVID and be okay, thankfully.
Nice.
And most of our tasting rooms outside. We have a beautiful patio area. We do live music, and now we serve food, because during one of the regulations during COVID for California was you could be open in the back patio or outside,
right,
if you serve food. So food trailer. We operate a food trailer. We have a restaurant as well. I don't remember if I told you that or not. But
okay.
We have a fine dining restaurant, and that was actually the first project because we took over that in 2015. It's called the Sheldon Inn. It's been a historic landmark. The building itself is over 100 years old, and it used to be the town's post office, used to be the market, used to be an inn, which is where it got its name. It used to be a lot of things over the years. And then since 1988, it's been a family-run restaurant, and I actually grew up going to the restaurant. So it's kind of crazy being a part of it on this side, where it's like, we haven't really changed the feel of it, but we've upgraded several things, like new bar, new seating, new lighting, everything. We've touched every part of that building, but it didn't lose the charm that it was known for, and that small town feel, because it's in a small town area. And but I mean, it's definitely a hidden gem, because we got some of the best steaks, best seafood, best pastas, best bar. Our bartenders are amazing, and so it's kind of, like I said, it's a laid back, high end feel.
I definitely got to make a trip out there. I mean, I remember when you were telling me about it, like immediately I was like, dude, that sounds sick. And there's still more to it, which we'll get into. But as something that you brought up was interesting, right? Because like there's a stigma around wine, right? Like it's like it's for like the wealthy, or it's very like sophisticated, like only certain people can drink wine, and if you don't know wine, you probably should stay away from it. Like that there's that stigma around wine, and I think reality is it's not really that serious, right? I think it's just like it's very old, and it's historic, right? Just the processes of wine, and how those characteristics have carried over the years. But reality is, I think we all kind of enjoy wine and kind of the type of drinking that comes with it, right? It's not a spirits, it's not beer, right? It's kind of one of its own, and the art of wine making is, like, to me, super interesting, right? We've done a lot of different segments around wine, and every time I hear the processes that go into it, I'm always like intrigued. But at the end of the day, like you said it, like for us younger generation individuals, like we need to just realize, like, hey, we can go to a winery and learn a ton about wine, and it's only going to help you when you go to a restaurant or you go to a bar, right? Or wherever it is, a hotel, wherever that experience may be. And you can understand what it is that you're ordering, like understanding the regions where they come from, understanding the type of grapes, like the climates, like so many different facets. Like it is a little complicated when you think about it. But at the end of the day, I feel like that's what makes you appreciate wine for what it is. And I think, to me, at least, that's always been something that's really interesting.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And, as far as the intimidation factor with wine, you're 100% right. I always especially the more I get into the golf space, like I've been golfing my whole life, so I know the ins and outs of it and like the social aspect, but really getting into the wine portion, and like the intimidation factor of like people who maybe haven't wine tasted before is very similar to people who haven't golfed before.
Yeah.
Where there's kind of that stigma
True.
of like, it's for the upper class. It's not very welcoming.
That's very true. That's a great point.
You even know your stuff. And it's like, that's ridiculous. It should be a game that everybody enjoys. Wine should be something that everybody can enjoy. So it's been really cool to see, because with our product, we tried making our product after some of our favorite wines, which are on the higher end. You know, the big wineries in Napa, Farniente, Nickel and Nickel, Rombauer, Frank family, all those guys. That's all stuff that we still drink. You know, we love it. But we don't drink it as much as our stuff, because our stuff is much better and a little bit more cost effective for us. But
exactly.
But those are the guys that we are mimicking. So everything in our winemaking process, we grow everything ourselves. We farm everything ourselves. Everything from the farming to the actual bottling is us. So there's no outside. I mean, we design our own labels. We buy the labels, but we came up with the design. We do everything in house. So
that's awesome.
It's been really fun, and at our tasting room, like, because it is that high end product, we appeal to the upper scale drinker. But because of how our tasting room is, it's a really nice place. But because how I've led our staff and trained everybody to be like, hey, I want this to be people's second home. There's enough shit people have to worry. I don't know if I can cuss on here.
Yeah, you're good.
Knowing you, I'm sure it's fine. But there's enough shit that people have to deal with on an everyday basis that our winery shouldn't be one of those places. It should be a place where people can kind of relax, forget about that, bring some friends and have a good time. And if you don't have any friends, come and have a good time with our staff. Like, our staff is very much a part of the experience. And we have people that come in every single week, multiple times. You know, we're only open 3 days on the weekend for our tasting room. We have people that come in every single week, sometimes at the exact same time, and they're there to hang out a lot of times with our staff and us. And like, that's something that I'm super proud of.
That's awesome. And so Adkins Winery is the name of the winery, correct?
Adkins Family Vineyards.
Adkins Family Vineyards. Got it. Okay. And then where are you guys located?
We're located in Oak Grove, California. So just outside of Sacramento, kind of, if you know, the Lodi wine region.
Gotcha.
We're about 30 minutes from Lodi, and maybe a little over an hour from Napa, or definitely over an hour from Napa, probably about an hour and a half.
Got it. So logistically, if I'm flying in to go to your winery, Sacramento would be the best airport to fly into?
International Airport, and then from there it's about, depending on traffic, what time you get in, it's probably about a 40-minute drive.
Okay, not too bad. That's nice. All right, cool. So then talk to me about this, right? So one of the coolest things I thought about this was that you have a par 4 hole in the middle of the winery. Literally, from what I understand, the grapes are on the left and on the right, and right down the middle is a fairway with a green in the middle. Talk to me about how the hell that even came to be, because I don't know any other winery that has something like that.
You know, I haven't seen it either, at least a private one. But so we're on 60 acres total of land, and the golf course kind of came about. We start basically the property that it's on. It's all estate grown. My parents live on the property, and it's 60 acres. So we started out with 4 acres of the Viognier grape, which is one of the more popular varietals we have, and it came with the house when they bought it in 2012. And so and then where we are, we're in the country. So it's like, we're in the country, but it's kind of like a old ranch that was selling off parcels, and like the whole neighborhood now is like 20 acre parcels.
Okay.
So it's actually a really beautiful neighborhood, but it's still country. People, like, we all have horses. Or not all of us, but most people out here have horses, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, basically, where we're growing everything. But it's all farmland. But the 20 acre parcel, so they bought the initial 20, got a good deal on the 20 acres that was diagonal to them, and then got to know the owner of actually where the course is now, going through the vines, and then he was ready to sell, kind of retire and be done. He planned on building his dream home on that property, and didn't end up working out. His plans changed and all that, and he was just trying to get rid of it. So we got another good deal, which was really excellent for us. And we had we just started out with like dirt on the hill, like close to the house. So we were just basically when we first got to the house, we started hitting golf balls right away. So it was just like kind of a natural thing. Like, it's like building anything or remodeling anything. It's like, oh, I did this little tweak. Oh, well, now that looks weird. We got to add this. We're like, okay, well, now let's add this. Like, so we started hitting golf balls pretty much right away on day one. And then it's like, well, it'd be nice if we had like grass down there, or like, it'd be nice if we had a target. It'd be nice. So it started off with just a flag way out there in the dirt. And then once we started, that was an empty acre. We had to farm everything else or plant everything else. And so now we're up to 36 acres of vines, going from 4 acres to 36 across 60 acres. And then we're like, let's just put some grass right here, and we'll put a little green down there. And then it just worked out.
How narrow is that fairway? I gotta imagine hitting that fairway's gotta be tough.
It's well, for me, it's too narrow. Most fairways are too narrow for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
But this one, it's probably maybe 40 yards wide, 45 at most. So you do need some accuracy, and it's tough too because you're hitting from up high, and then you hit across our Zen vines, and then the fairway starts, maybe 50 yards out, and then it kind of flattens out a little bit, and then goes down the hill. And as it goes down the hill, the green's elevated a little bit from that, so you're going down, and then since most of it's downhill, you're chipping. When you're chipping up onto the green, you're chipping at a downhill slope. And then you have a green that doesn't really have a backing, and it's AstroTurf or turf or just it doesn't
for the ball to sit.
Yeah, it's an extremely challenging course, but it makes it fun. It keeps it interesting. So we're happy to have it on there.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. No, that's sick, man. I gotta go check it out. And for anyone that's listening, definitely go check it out because I feel like that's a one-of-one experience. You get to drink some wine and then hit some golf balls. I mean, what better combo than that? So yeah, let's take it into the next part of this, right? Where, obviously you have the winery, but you've been huge into the golf space, right? Like golf has been something that you're very passionate about and you enjoy. And you've now in the process of even starting a whole YouTube segment around golf and, bringing in the wine into all that. So talk to me about a little bit of like how golf came to be in your life and then, how obviously that's evolved over the years.
Yeah. So golf, my first set of golf clubs was like the Little Tykes golf clubs when I was 3. My dad or my parents got them for me. And that was kind of like the beginning of it. Obviously that's just getting used to moving around, nothing serious or anything.
Yeah.
I'm a little kid. And, but my dad was the golfer. He was always playing the sport. He used to be really good. He's had some shoulder surgeries and knee surgeries and stuff lately. So he's still getting back into the swing of things, but that's been something that him and I have always shared. And so I'm very fortunate that with our business, with the wine business, it goes directly into golf because, we sponsor a lot of golf tournaments through the winery throughout the area and all that. And so it's been, and we always play in them. That's always the thing. Like, we'll sponsor it, but you got to save us a foursome right there. We'll put our team together. And we've won a few, we've lost several. But it's always a good time no matter what. And so that's been really fun, is being able to incorporate the wine business with golf, which obviously is, 2 passions that we can make into one. And, as far as like making golf content now, I started that probably back in August, or it was back in August, because I was asked by a friend of mine who is very much in the golf space, Ryan Winther. He's the 2012 World Long Drive champ and holds or set at least 4 different world records and is about to set his 5th. And he has a show on NBC Sports called Driven. And his old executive producer wasn't able to do the show anymore. He had another kid and his personal business was booming and just unfortunately didn't have time for it because there's a lot of travel involved. It's a golf travel show.
Right.
And so Ryan, we went golfing and he's like, hey, Charlie's not able to do this anymore. Would you want to do this? And I'd been a part of the show before. We've been sponsoring the show for the last several years, which is how we actually got connected with Ryan in the first place. And actually, funny enough, our very first meeting was at the driving range at the Vineyard. Charlie brought him over, and it was funny because we were on a 3-way call, and Charlie's we're all talking to each other, and he's trying to set a time for him to come out. And I was joking with him. I was like, yeah, the neighbor's house is like 600 yards away. Is that going to be okay? And he was like actually taking time to think and see if that was and that just
I could probably get it there.
Oh, this is real? Oh my gosh, dude, that's crazy.
The thought of even hitting a golf ball that far, I wouldn't even fathom how that would even feel. It's just that's insanity to me.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I hit the ball pretty far, and I've outdriven him on a few occasions, which I'm pretty happy to say.
Yeah,
Some of his better, it's not like he duffed it and then I hit it past him, but I got to my ball. And he's like, "Oh, wow, all right." I'm like, "Yeah." That's pretty good. But yeah, I remember this time we were playing this tournament, and I tee off, I just bomb it, great shot. And everybody at the tee box, with their sponsors and stuff, and they're like, "Oh wow!" Like they're all about me for about 10 seconds. Then Ryan goes and takes a practice swing, and it sounds like a helicopter is going off, and everybody forgot about me the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have nothing else to contribute. I can't chip or putt, so like
exactly. I'm going to try to hit the long drive, but I'm going against another long driver, so it's pretty irrelevant at this point. That's cool. And so now you got the golf show that you're producing, right? You're doing your own YouTube content. Where do you see that world of for you specifically of golf content going? Outside of you're doing a little bit of producing, you're doing your YouTube channel, but like where do you see yourself taking that?
That's a really good question. We haven't been doing it very long, so we're still kind of figuring out what our direction is. Mm-hmm. My goal would just be like, I love connecting with people. So being able to, whether it has, gets a bunch of subscribers or whatever, I honestly don't care about that. It's almost just a reason to have people out. Let's go to the course and let's just go have some fun. Let's record our conversations. And
exactly.
If we get into some stuff, great. If we don't, great too. We're out here having a good time. So it was almost an excuse to just get together with people. And, when we first did it, I'm like, hey, I already have, like, I have a production company as well. And I work with some, I'm co-owners with all this stuff, which is awesome because I wouldn't be able to do it by myself.
Of course. Yeah.
I work with some really talented and incredible people that are able to pick up my faults and vice versa. So we all work really well together. So it's actually, my videographer was like, hey, why don't you're so much in the golf space, and he's always been coming out and recording content for the winery at these golf tournaments, like getting us playing and stuff like that, and put together some pretty cool videos and just for marketing purposes. And he's like, why don't we just like create golf content for you? You're entertaining, you know how to talk to people, and you do some cool shit. So might as well record it. Like, we're already here. Yeah. Let's just repurpose it.
Exactly.
Like, sure, let's try it out, and so far the reception's been really great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you're in a great spot considering like the golf courses out there are beautiful, they're abundant. There's a ton going on. We're actually going to be up at Pebble in a couple of weeks for the Pro-Am.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm excited. It's my first time ever going up to Northern Cali. First time at Pebble. So obviously that's a bucket list course to even just visit and step on the ground. So I'm hyped for that.
I've been fortunate enough to play Pebble 3 times.
Wow.
And I didn't have to pay for any of it.
Oh my God, that's even better. It's like I would pay just for that.
It was either so I was an invited guest, and like, it was. So if the par 6 right before the historic par 7, this is like my claim to fame in golf. Because I'm not, I'm a very average golfer. Like, I broke 80 for the first time this last year, and that's because I've practiced golf for the show. Because I'm like, I can't play bad on TV.
Exactly.
I have to at least not embarrass myself. But that par or that hole number 6, it's par 5. Is it a par 5? Regardless, I've birdied it 2 out of the 3 times. Very happy about that.
That's pretty damn good. I mean, I gotta assume those greens are crazy fast. Everything there is narrow. I mean, a lot of tree lines that you got to hit the ball through. So I'm sure that's not an easy birdie.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. But what I will add to hole number 7, I've shanked it into the water every time, so it kind of nullifies the birdies on the previous holes.
What would you say are your top courses that you've played at?
Man, I mean, Pebble, obviously, that's just the best.
Yeah.
But my actual favorite, I've played Spyglass as well. I think that one for me if you were to take kind of the history out of Pebble, Spyglass would be it for me, because it's like, I mean, you have you're seeing the ocean and all that stuff, but you're also like in the forest.
Right.
So it's such a unique, that to me, that's just beauty. I love seeing the contrast in
Me
that.
too. Yeah.
Man, where else did I play that was really great? Yochadehi, that we have up here in Northern California, up past Woodland. I mean, it's a top-notch course. It's basically in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by some hills, and it's an Indian casino, and they just do a great job. I mean, it's one of the best. It's the best course in our area. It's about maybe an hour drive for me, and it's worth every hour.
Yeah.
Just because you get there, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're like, you kind of go through this like little podunk town. You're like, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you turn the corner, you see the resort, and then you drive past the resort, and then you're just overlooking this valley, and it's just a pristine course. It's always pristine, always in good condition, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun. And the customer service, like they give you like a scented like mango wet towel after the round, and
those little things just go so far.
It does.
It reminds me, we played Wickapaa in Arizona, in Scottsdale. And that's the same thing. It's on a casino ground. They got a big ass casino there. They got the hotel resort, and then you're in the middle of the desert, like just straight desert. There's cacti everywhere. It's dry. You got the Scottsdale Mountains kind of, surrounding the course. So the views are incredible. But the coolest thing to me on that course was like, obviously, like Looney Tunes, like the Roadrunner and the Coyote. There's Roadrunners and Coyotes chasing each other on the golf course. I'm playing in a Looney Tunes episode right now. The little Roadrunners are like this big. They got the long tail, and you got the Coyotes just literally walking around the course. They don't do anything to you. They don't even get close to you. But there's one there like 20 yards away from you, and you just see it kind of like walking around, and then you see the Roadrunner kind of sprinting away from it. Right. So those experiences are sick, right? I mean, I play a lot of golf in South Florida. Obviously, Florida is a big, golf hub. But at the end of the day, like the courses are beautiful, but they're pretty. Traditional is not the word, and I don't want to use the word basic because they're not basic. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into those courses. But when you look at like the scenery that comes with like a course like you were mentioning, and you got all the big trees, and you got the water, and all these different things. Like in Florida, we don't really have of them. The quality of the courses and the abundance of courses is definitely out there. And then obviously you have the weather that comes into factor too, where you can play all year long, which is huge too. But one of the coolest courses I would say that I ever played was Mount Alani in Hawaii, in Kona Big Island, and that was crazy. Like you're talking about massive cliffs along a stretch of holes there, the coastline right there into the wide open ocean, and then every fairway basically is not like the OB is not really OB. It's lava rock just stacked up on top of each other all along the side of the fairway. So you're like, well, I could see my ball, but there's no way I'm getting that. We're hitting that ball. So, if you don't hit in the fairway, you're kind of screwed there. But the views are impeccable. Obviously, you got the palm trees, and just like that whole environment is incredible, man. And I think that's like one of the coolest things about golf is like that travel component and being able to go to these different places and just experience the environments that all these courses have to offer. Because I mean, dude, there's so many cool courses out there.
There are, yeah, absolutely. And you just reminded me I don't know how I forgot it. Poipu Bay in Kauai.
Oh wow,
that's my number 2 favorite course. Absolutely.
Yeah, the courses out there are unreal. Man. Yeah, I mean, you had what was it, Sony Open, and what's the one before Sony Open? I just forget the name. It's the first tournament, the Century tournament. Okay, those views are like at Century are unreal. You got like because you got the mountains behind it, you got the ocean, like the up and down kind of course feel to it. It like that to me is like those are one of one experiences. Like you're only going to experience that at a location like that.
The more you talk, the more I'm realizing how many courses I left out, and that's a disservice.
Yeah, I know. Like, no, you don't really think about it. Hawaii will always stick out to me though, because like strictly because of the lava rock component to it, like that's something you don't see anywhere. But yeah, I mean, there's so many courses. Like now that I'm traveling more, I'm actually like bringing my clubs places and making it like an effort to go play wherever I go, just because it's like you don't know when you'll be back there, and it's like you have an opportunity, you're there, just schedule a couple hours, even if you get to play 9 holes on that course. I think
Yeah,
it's worth it.
absolutely. Have you ever? Well, when you come out to California, um, whether it's this trip or another trip that you come out, and when you come and visit us, I'll either take you. Let's go to Yochadehi or another one that I forgot, which is only about hour and a half, 2 hours away from where we're at, is Edgewood, where they have
Okay.
the American Century tournament.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
That course is unreal.
There's
For
a course by the hotel we're staying at that we're probably gonna play. I forget the name of it. I'll text it to you and I'll let you know what it is.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, that area is full of badass courses. So we definitely got to plan a trip out there, do the winery, play some golf, do some content, and just have a good time.
yeah, man.
Cool. All right. So before we kind of wrap it up here, I like to do kind of like a rapid fire question.
Sure.
Just quick question, quick answer, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So if yeah, it's a question that everyone loves to ask, but who's your dream foursome when out on the course?
Um, it's a good question. This is supposed to be rapid, so
No, rapid in the fact that
they're
I
just
ask you a
quick.
question and you just answer it.
Okay. Honestly, because my dad and I have that connection, it'd just be me and him,
hmm
um, and then fighters. I do it for the social side. Is this for social side or is this for we're trying to win a tournament or something? So I don't have a different foursome.
That's a valid. I would say more for like just the overall experience, not
Overall
necessarily.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
win or
Uh,
lose.
Me, my dad. Um, Man, and I don't want to leave. I have so many close friends that would fit in there, so I don't want to get too specific. But definitely, my dad will be in there, and then I'd fill it with whoever could be available out of my friend group there.
Yeah,
I would want to come play.
it's awesome. It's a common thing when when you ask these people, you expect like the celebrities or athletes or those type of people, and it always comes down to like family and friends.
Right.
That's really what it is, because like what
That's what makes it.
better experience are you going to have than with the people that you care about most? Like we had Rafa on a couple weeks ago, and he was like, he's playing the Masters for the first time, and he was like, you know, I could say Tiger, I could say these guys, but he's like, I see those guys, and like I'm inspired by them. But my dream foursome is my dad, my brother, and my primo, like his cousin, and he's like that's family. Like I want to be able to like play the Masters and have them like be on the course with me, because there's just like a certain magic that comes with that.
Yeah.
But all right, next question. Of all the wines that you guys have, what would you say is your favorite?
My favorite. I'm trying to see if I have a bottle so I can actually show it.
Yeah,
Um, well, I must have drank it already.
that's that
Oh,
good.
I do. I got one. So it's our Cab Reserve,
Mm,
and so this one's a little bit different than our like. This is our another one of our cabs, but you see, it's the white label. That's just like our regular stuff.
gotcha.
And then this was actually a label that I designed
It's a
for the
badass
Reserve
label. I like that.
collection. So just kind of inverted it with black and white for the nice black label. And so the difference between that and our normal cab is this was aged a whole year longer than our other cab.
Nice.
Same harvest, but so we do 2 years in French oak barrels in the regular one. This was 3 years. So it definitely has a little bit different flavor profile. It's super smooth, kind of floats on your tongue, and it's a whole other experience. And that one's definitely my favorite.
I love a good cab. Can people purchase your wine online? Like if they went to, how
Absolutely,
does that
yeah,
work? Okay, yeah,
yeah. AdkinsFamilyVineyards.com. There's a handful of states that we can't do just because of liquor laws and stuff.
right.
But Florida, we can definitely ship to, and most of the United States. So
I'm gonna have to cop some for sure.
yeah, man, I'll send you some.
Uh, uh, All right, last question I always love to finish the pod with is, what does it mean to you to stay tranquilo?
For me, it is just not taking anything too serious. There's you can kind of get wrapped up in things, especially when you're doing a lot of things, and some things kind of seem like they're the end of the world. But reminding yourself, like, this is like, you're good. You don't really need to worry too much about this. You're kind of exactly where you're supposed to be, and with the lows, you enjoy the highs that much more.
Yep.
So for me, it's that, and then for me, hanging out with my wife. I love hanging out with my wife.
That's awesome.
And she makes me feel like I can just be myself, and that's the I can't do the pronunciation.
Tranquilo.
That was okay, right?
I saw it. That's good. No, that's a good answer, because a lot of the inspiration came from like Bob Marley. Don't worry, be happy. Like that mentality. Because we do kind of get worked up over a lot of these little things and realize like everything that happens is temporary, and we can power through, and a lot of these moments make us stronger and they make us better. But it's really about like staying even keel and like staying calm through the chaos, and even through the good times and the bad times. So love that answer, and love the fact that your wife is a part of that. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Well, appreciate it, brother. That was fun. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Definitely gonna go check out the winery, and if you listen to this, definitely check out the winery as well. Cop some wine online if you can't make it out there, at least give it a try. And hopefully some cool golf content and wine content coming soon with Jake here.
And watch the Driven Golf Show on NBC Sports. We'll be airing season 7 end of March.
Hell yeah. I'll be tuning in. I'll be on NBC Sports. I'm assuming you get that like on Peacock too and all that?
That's a good question. I'll have to ask Ryan about that and see exactly if it's on streaming services. We'll definitely, after we air the episode, we put it on YouTube and all that stuff, so you can
okay. Sick. Cool. All right, brother. Well, appreciate the time, and we'll do something soon.
All right. Sounds good, man. Look
Later,
forward
brother.
to it. See ya.